piling on. They've already stole my joy. Just keep beating me up.
Do you feel like we have your back? Because we're here today because we do.
All of this has been a pile on, and this is cruel.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 8, Episode 1. And before we get started, thank you guys so much for your patience. You guys know that I was in Vegas for BravoCon, and that's why all my recaps are late. But I had the most fantastic time, and I cannot wait to see you guys in my live tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I cannot wait to give you guys all the tea. And when I tell you I have some tea. But let me just start off by saying that this was a really strong premiere episode. I enjoyed it. And I think that it's really great that Robyn Dixon actually has a storyline this season. I said, won't he do it? Because Robyn has been coasting for seasons. But again, a very strong premiere episode. I enjoyed it. And with all that being said, let's just jump right on into it, because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. So we open up this premiere episode with the clips from last year, with Robyn asking Juan about putting an infidelity clause in the prenup. Juan's talking about, well, you know that's not needed. Then we see the clips of them getting married. And now we cut to Gizelle in her confessional, and she's saying, well, where do we begin? And of course, we all know what she's talking about. She's talking about Juan and the girl from Canada. Now, when they cut to Karen, Karen's like, now we know what's really going on beneath the surface. Then she says, I understand wanting to stick by your man and believe your husband, but girl, there's a whole hotel receipt. Now, one thing about it, Karen will never see it for Robyn. I mean, since the beginning, Robyn and Karen have always been at it. And Karen lives to embarrass Robyn. You could tell that Karen is eating all this up. I thought it was really funny when Jazelle said, oh, I know that it's eating Robyn up, that everybody's sitting up there trying to poke holes in her story. And I said, stop trying to act like what Robyn and Juan are telling us makes sense. So now we cut back to Karen. Karen says, first you get outed by the Canadian woman, and now you get busted with another woman at the nail salon. So, of course, Giselle's like, when I saw those pictures of him at the nail salon, I was screaming and yelling. Then Ashley says, when I saw those pictures, I was like, what's going on? And Robyn, all I have to say to you is that I hope you draft up a post-nup and put in an infidelity clause. Because I don't believe for 1 minute that Juan is faithful to you now, and I don't think he's going to be faithful to you as the years go on. So now we jump right to Robyn. She's at home. I think she was framing some pictures. But anyhow, Juan comes home. He was at the gym, and now they sit down to talk. And may I just say this? I'm not trying to be shady, I swear. But every time I see Juan and Robyn together, I do not see a couple. I don't see any chemistry between them. I don't see any romantic spark. They act like two friends, brother and sister catching up. Like, I don't see a husband and a wife. Like, I don't see any romance between them. I don't see any attraction or that sexual chemistry. I don't see that. And we know that there's no spark with Juan, because he said it in season 2 that if it weren't for the kids, he would have been out. So Robyn addresses the elephant in the room. She says this whole thing with the girl in the hotel receipt. And Juan says, yeah, I know, I admit it, it was stupid. And then Robyn says, yeah, it was, but we're gonna move past it. Then she goes on to say that she's upset that everybody took the story and ran with it. I said, hold on. You yourself have run with other people's stories and their drama. The way you were sitting up there trying to poke holes in Karen's story when she moved to Great Falls in season 2, you were saying that she didn't really live there. When Ashley had her drama with Michael, you and Gizelle were talking about it, spreading it to everybody. When Karen had her drama with the whole tax situation, you guys came up there joking around with those free Uncle Ben shirts It was all fun and games then. You were calling her broke, this, that, and the third. But now, when you're on the hot seat, now it's, oh, folks are taking this story and running with it. Well, that's the name of the game, sis. And unfortunately, since you're the one now who has a target on her back, now you want to play victim. And Robyn, the way you sat there last season and doubled down on what Mia did to Wendy in Miami, you will never get any sympathy from me. And you doubled down on it at BravoCon too at the panel. Talking about, well, a drink being thrown in somebody's face isn't the worst thing in the world. Girl, what? So again, sis, I will never have any sympathy for you about this whole thing with Juan. So you have Juan pulling all these excuses out of his ass. He's like, I was just being nice. I'm a nice guy. I'll give homeless people on the street $20 or $50. Like, I'm a nice guy. Then he goes on to say that the story might sound crazy, but it's the truth. She called him because she lost her wallet in the casino, and I paid for her hotel room, and that was that. And once again, I don't know who Juan thinks that he's fooling, because that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And you caught how Juan was trying to play dumb when Robyn said, but you were at the hotel and you paid for it, so why not go for it once you got there? He was like, wait, what? I said, you know you heard her. His whole body language was off. When he was saying it, he wasn't even looking at her. He's looking at the sky, at the ceiling, out the window. I just said, how can anybody sit up here and believe what Juan is saying? This man takes Robyn for a fool. He does. He got a real sucker, and the fact that she wants to sit up here and believe him because she's too embarrassed to admit that she remarried a cheater is really beyond me. But I said, Robyn, you don't even believe what he's saying, and you're sitting up there looking foolish on that couch. So Robyn goes on to say that this whole incident happened 1.5 years ago, and she thinks that it's weird that people are upset with her for not sharing this. She's like, why would I share this when we were planning our wedding? It had already happened. We had resolved it. It was over and done with. And I said, but Robyn, you're on a reality TV show where you're supposed to share about your life. And for the last few seasons, you have not only been coasting, but you have been on other people about them not sharing their lives. So you can't have it both ways. And it's hypocritical for you to get on Karen and Ashley and Candace or whoever and not share your own life, but want them to share theirs. That's not how this works. And also, Robyn, let's be very clear. We all know that had this been somebody else on your cast, you and Jazelle would be hollering from the rooftops about how it was unfair that they hid this whole storyline. Then when it came out to the public, they hid behind a paywall to tell the whole story. You guys would be calling for them to be fired. So don't try to sit up here and act like you're confused as to why your castmates and the public are upset that you hid this. What really irritates me, a lot of these women want all the benefits of being on this show. They love the fame. They love the platform. They love the money, the free trips, the free swag. But when it comes to sharing their life, they want to pick and choose and try to coast. Then they're upset with the fans and the viewers for being upset with them because they're giving us fake storylines. They're not sharing anything. And that's not the way this works. Of course, you don't have to share everything, but you do have to share a good amount if you're going to join reality TV. That's just how it goes. So then Robyn goes on to add that she was really taken aback to see what Candace was saying on Twitter about this whole thing, and she feels upset because last year she showed Candace a lot of support when the whole thing happened with Gizelle accusing Chris of harassing her. So she feels like Candace is not there for her. And I said, but Robyn, those are two different situations. Your friend was outright lying on Chris Bassett. You hid an entire storyline and then told your story behind a paywall once it got out. So it's apples and oranges. And Robyn, you sounded even crazier talking about, well, I choose to believe Juan because he's not that good to come up with this kind of story. I said, if you want to delude yourself, that's fine. But don't try to pee on our legs and tell us that it's raining. We can all see the truth, hun. You can't. And a cheating man's favorite line, believe what you want. When Juan said that, I said, you know what? You can't make this up. I was too done. I said, you know what? They're both playing in our faces and I don't have the patience or the time. So now Robyn brings up the latest scandal when Juan was caught at the laundromat with another woman. So Robyn says that people don't even know that Juan had called her up that morning and told her that he was going to go out with Coach Bree to wash the practice jerseys for the team. So Juan gets defensive and he says that men and women work together all the time. And I think it's the fact that Coach Bree is a beautiful woman. So Robyn says, yeah, people say that me and her look alike. Now, a lot of you guys pulled up the receipts of Coach Bree, and remember how last season Karen said that Juan is around in Georgetown with another woman who looks like her, and Coach Bree favors Karen when Karen was younger. And here's my thing. Let's just say that Juan and Coach Bree weren't messing around. You know that the block is hot since the Canadian woman outed you a few months ago. So why would you want to be seen around town with yet another woman? I sometimes feel like, does Juan have some kink where he enjoys embarrassing Robyn? Because anybody with a working, logical brain would say, let me not be seen with another woman. I embarrassed my wife with this whole entire hotel debacle. Robyn bringing up how Juan lost his job, and she says, I hate how the public thinks that you lost your job because of other reasons, and it's almost like they're rejoicing in it. So now Juan says, well, they're miserable people. And I said, now let's not. Because Robyn, as nasty as you've been throughout your time on this show, baby, do you remember how in season 6, you and Jazelle sat up there talking about you heard the rumors that Eddie was cheating on Wendy, how he had some alleged side chick and a side baby? You guys were reveling in that. Y'all picked her apart because she got her body done, talking about she's a loose woman, this, that, and the third. She shouldn't be dressing sexy because she's a professor. So that was okay for you to talk about her marriage and her looks. But now when somebody talks about Juan and his alleged cheating, and him being out and about with other women and paying for hotel rooms and being at nail salons and laundromats, that's off limits. But it's okay for you to run your mouth about other people. Got it. The same way you rejoice in other people's mess, you can't be upset that folks are rejoicing in yours. And your man happens to be a dummy who continues to embarrass you in public. So now we jump over to Karen, Candace, and Wendy meeting up for dinner and drinks. And when I tell you that Wendy had me screaming, she was talking about she gave up alcohol for Lent, but now that Lent's over, she's back at it, but she still carries her rosary with her, and that's why she's always protected when the mess comes to her. Candace was like, now girl, where was your rosary for me last season? Because the girls tried me. So Karen brings up when they last saw each other in New York at the reunion and how things got really messy and they all said some ugly things to each other. Now, in my opinion, I feel like Candace and Wendy were justified to go off on everybody at last year's reunion. Because the way Mia, Ashley, Gizelle, and Robyn came after the both of them last season, they had my full-fledged support to go off on everybody and go as low as they wanted to go. Because you had people assaulting folks, people cheering the assault on. Then you had others maligning somebody's husband's character and reputation. So at that point, they have every right to go off and say whatever they wanted to say about anybody on that couch. Again, just my opinion, just my thoughts, but I don't feel that Candace and Wendy got ugly at the reunion. They were justified. So Karen goes on to say that she's on good terms with Jazelle and Ashley, but when it comes to Robyn, she needs Robyn to take ownership. So now Karen continues on by saying that last year, her, Candace, and Wendy were the targets because Robyn was trying to deflect from her truth. Now, Candace had me screaming. She was like, oh, I agree wholeheartedly. The focus was definitely on maligning my husband's name and his character. But what really blew my wig back was hearing Robyn say on TV that she was waiting for Karen to bring up all this mess. And I was confused when Robyn said that as well. Because why would you want somebody that you don't like to air out your business before you say it? Wouldn't you rather get it out before somebody else can? I was really confused by that. Robyn is one of those people who just says anything in the moment because she's embarrassed. Because that doesn't make any sense for you to say that you were waiting on Karen to bring up all this mess about you and Juan. So Karen goes on to say that she's an open book and Robyn is a bold-faced liar. And Candace says that there was a lot of projection. Karen says that it was deflection. And Wendy says that it was both. When Karen went on to say that Robyn needs to go ahead and admit that they have some sort of arrangement, I said the same thing. I think that Robyn would set herself free and she would get everybody off of her back if she just said, look, y'all, he's allowed to do what he wants to do on the side, as long as he doesn't come back with anything and he comes back to me at the end of the day. Because like I said earlier, I do not see any connection between Robyn and Juan. They give friends, brother and sister vibes, and roommates. I do not see that romantic connection between them at all. He does not look at her like, that's my woman, that's my wife. Like, I don't see that. I see a man who's there for 3 hots in a cot and for the tax benefits of being married. But I don't see him there for right reasons. I definitely don't see love between them. I don't. And I honestly believe that Robyn suffers from that whole sunken cost fallacy where she feels like she has invested so much time into this man. She's helped him. She's been his ride or die all these years. So it's almost like, I don't want anybody else to be the next Miss Juan Dixon. And Karen told no lies when she said, look, at the end of the day, Robyn is delusional. And she is delusional. To believe the lies that are coming out of Juan's mouth, to sit up here and turn a blind eye to stuff, is very sad. Now, I'm not going to hold you guys. I was so tempted to skip past Ashley's scene. You guys know how I feel about Ashley. So anyhow, Ashley and her boys are in their brand new home. I think she said that it's 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, is 3,000 square feet, and it was $2.2 million. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I believe that Ashley ran out and bought a house that she could not afford to compete with Candace. I just find it very interesting that Candace gets this gorgeous mansion last season, and now all of a sudden next season, here goes Ashley in this $2.2 million house. Very interesting. And I don't care how anybody feels about it, but I believe in my heart that Ashley is very envious of Candace, and that's the real reason why they will never see it for each other, because Ashley is jealous of the fact that Candace has the life that she has always wanted. Candace was born into it, while Ashley had to marry this predator to get a crumb of what Candace has. I thought it was really interesting to hear Ashley compare the penthouse that she had with Michael to the new house. And she was like, yeah, the penthouse was so dark. And I said, girl, we know. That penthouse looked dirty, cramped, and tired. I never got luxury from you and Michael anyhow. I said, girl, he has all this money. Why are you guys in this small place? It didn't look good at all. I just felt like we only saw the same room every time she filmed there. It was always that same exact living room and the kitchen. We never saw her bedroom. We didn't see the kids' bedrooms. We didn't see anything. Ashley revealing that Michael's name is still on this home. I said, okay, girl. I don't understand why it was so hard for Ashley to buy a nice home in her price range. I would not want that man's name on my home. But like I said, she wanted a $2.2 million home to compete with Candace. So Ashley goes on to say that she's in no rush to take his name off the mortgage because in case something should happen financially, she can always get him to help. And I said, there are no guarantees in life. And Ashley, you're playing a dangerous game. I think that Michael is a very vindictive man, and I don't know if I'd be able to trust that I could count on him for financial help. Don't forget, that's the same man who kicked her out of their penthouse in season 2. Remember that? I know that some people might say that Ashley's playing the long game, or that's a good idea to still have his name on the deed, But for me personally, I think that it's dumb. So at this point, Ashley goes outside to FaceTime Gizelle. And I think that it is so hilarious that Gizelle and Ashley are the best of friends. Because remember in season 1, Gizelle and Robyn couldn't stand Ashley. They thought she was trash. Gizelle was calling her all types of thoughts and this, that, and the third. And to see that they are just the best of friends, it's just so funny to me. But like I've always said, I think that Gizelle sees Ashley as a mini her, and that's why she likes her so much. And honestly, I'll never view Ashley and Gizelle's friendship as a friendship with two equals. I will always see it as Gizelle is the leader and Ashley's her flunky who does her bidding. That's how I view them. But anyhow, they're catching up. Gizelle's asking Ashley about the Bahamas trip that she took with Michael. Ashley reassures her that they went as co-parents and as friends and that nothing happened. Now, do I believe it? No, because why do y'all need to go on vacation together? I think that her and Michael still fool around from time to time. And I also think that because she needs money from him, she's definitely trying to do what she can to secure the bag. And that's no shade, but I'm not buying this whole thing about, oh, we just went as co-parents. Honestly, I'm tired of hearing about this divorce. I think that Ashley is playing in our faces with it because if you're so over this man, why haven't you filed for divorce yet? So now Gizelle starts asking Ashley if Michael's giving her money. So Ashley says, yes, he gives me child support every month. And he also helped me with the down payment on the house. Now, I remember at that reunion, we found out that she can't get alimony and I guess something else or spousal support. And I just said, girl, you're the biggest dummy I've ever seen because you put up with that man for all that time and you're left holding the bag. That's really shameful. I wonder how much he's giving her in child support. Hopefully she's getting $10,000. So they change gears in the conversation and Gizelle says, look, I want to invite you over to my house because we need to have a come to Jesus moment with Robyn with all that she's going through. Then Gizelle goes on to say, I don't want to call her delusional, but I do want to encourage her because this whole thing is a mess. So now Gizelle goes on to say that what Robyn's dealing with, a lot of other people don't make it to the other side, and that she does worry about Robyn's mental health. And I just said, it's so funny to me how Gizelle can only see when she and her friend are hurting, when other people in this group are hurting, she could care less. Did you care about Wendy's mental health when she was assaulted last season? Oh, I forgot. You said, well, I don't care what happens to Wendy because I don't like her. A grown woman at your age saying something so hateful and vile. Because like I've told you guys, right is right and wrong is wrong. And you don't have to like Wendy, but the point of the matter still remains that she did not deserve to be assaulted like that. Period. End of story. So now Gizelle wants the whole world to stop and just have all this empathy and care for her friend because of some cheating scandal that her husband brought to her doorstep? I don't think so. And also, Robyn seems perfectly fine with this arrangement of how things go on between her and Juan. So you can't be more concerned about it than Robyn is. If Robyn wants to turn a blind eye to this, then so be it. So Ashley says, look, that's all well and good. I'm happy to attend. But my whole thing is, I've had quite a few conversations about their relationship, and every time I had the conversation, things went left. So I don't think that this conversation is going to go well. And I don't like Ashley, but when she's right, she's right. Robyn does not take too kindly when you tell her about herself, especially when it comes to her and Juan. She gets very defensive. So Ashley has the right idea, like, sis, I know you want to help, but I think that it's not going to be taken in the best way. And I also think it's so interesting how Robyn likes to act like she's never been a bully when we saw her with her fingers in her face threatening Ashley in season 2 when Ashley was asking about her relationship with Juan. Remember that? Because I remember. Now, I'm not going to hold you. We're going to skip past this scene with Gizelle at home. I thought it was boring. I thought the scene went on for way too long. Nothing really happened. But Gizelle is now dating Jason from Winter House. He's 16 years younger than her. And she's going on about how mama has to live and mama needs a life too. And how the West Wing hasn't seen so much action in years. And I said, girl, you know what? Let me not. I'm trying to be nice. But yeah, guys, I'm not that interested in this whole relationship / situationship that Gizelle's in with Jason. I don't care. I will say though that the food looked good. He had some salmon and some scallops. That was the best part of the scene. And I do have a story to tell you guys about Gizelle and Robyn at BravoCon. Okay, so stay tuned for my live. I just think it's really funny that you're on a huge reality show, a very popular one, getting paid handsomely, and you're rattled by what a YouTuber says. And my whole thing is we help each other out. You give us content, we have the folks interested to keep watching the shows. So nobody should be upset about anything. But again, I will tell you guys the full story in the live. But again, don't let these folks fool you. They watch all of our recaps and they watch. They are tuned in, and don't let them fool you. So now we jump over to Mia, and let me just stop for a minute, right? I'm gonna give you guys some tea. I met Mia at BravoCon because I didn't meet her last year. She knew exactly who I was, and I asked her point blank, why did you assault Wendy?
She in it. That's a good conversation. She having a whole conversation.
Like, that was heartbreaking to watch. She copped to it. She owned up to it. She said that she apologized to Wendy, and she said that she regrets doing it. And you know what she told me? She said, you're so hard on me. And I said, but Mia, it's not that I'm hard on you. I'm just being honest. I don't like how you act on the show. And I let it be known, like, I don't know you personally, but from what I see on the show, I don't like it. And what you did to Wendy wasn't right. But she owned it. And I'm going to always give credit where credit is due. But Mia was actually pleasant. She was lovely. And she looked good. Like, I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to sit up here and lie on anybody. Mia looked good. But yeah, I had to let her know, like, honey, me and the good folks at home were livid when we saw what you did last season. But anyhow, we see that Mia's in a new home. She says that moving out of their gorgeous rental in Potomac has been a big adjustment. They went from 10,000 square feet to now 1,500 square feet.
Ladies, may we get a word?
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around. With your broke ass.
But let me just say this. I do commend Mia for being honest about their struggles right now, because I know so many housewives in her boat who would still be lying and pretending like they were still rich, i.e. Sheree Whitfield. Because we know that whether Sheree has $2 or 2 cents in her pocket, she will lie to the bitter end about she still has money, when we all know that she doesn't. But Mia, I know it has to be humbling, because the way you came on this show bragging about how you're the boss and CEO, oh, I'm a boss chick, I make $500,000 a year, I do this, that, and the third, I have my G-Wagon, I got this, I got that, and now you and Gordon are sitting up there broke. I know that has to hurt. You were sitting up there calling Candace's video low budget, and now look at you. And watching Mia and Gordon interacting in this scene, I said, oh, she is so over him. They're about to be divorced like that. And Gordon, don't you feel dumb to leave your third wife for Mia. And I know your third wife is having a good laugh, because you did all that, getting somebody 30 years younger than you, and now she's out. But also, sir, let's be real here. Do you honestly feel like a woman 30 years younger than you actually wanted you for you? A lot of these men are delusional. It's like, sir, unless you look like George Clooney at your big age, nobody is here for just your charm and personality. It's the money. So don't be upset or surprised that Mia's out. But anyhow, Gordon says that he's relieved because this whole thing has been resolved, but he's still going to take this to court because he's owed $500,000. So Mia goes on to say that in 2013, her and Gordon took over the Cairo business, and then this past September, his family voted him out of the business and they're still unsure of why. And if I'm being honest, I have a feeling that them being on this show is one of the biggest reasons why they're both out. I think that Mia's actions played a big factor into the family wanting Gordon off the board and them firing Mia, because she was I think the chief marketing officer. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Mia's actions on this show played a part in them both being out. So Mia goes on to say that it's been really hard losing that income. And I said, I'm sure it is. If you and Gordon were pulling in $1 million, $1.5 million, and now you're only making the money from you being on the show, I'm sure it's tight. And honestly, I don't think that Mia's salary from this show is that much. She's definitely not making the same money that Candace, Karen, Gizelle, and Robyn are making. If I had to guess, if they're all making $500,000 and more a season, I think that Mia's probably making $1 to $150,000. And going from making $1.5 million, you and your husband combined, to now you're only dependent on this show salary and you're only making $150,000, I'm sure things are tight. So Gordon says, well, let's give ourselves a pat on the back because we did pivot quickly and we did a great job. Now, Mia wasn't having it. She was like, babe, you were in a whole depression for 2 months. You were sitting on that couch, wouldn't get up, wouldn't do anything, staring into space. I said one thing about it, there is nothing worse and nothing more depressing than a broke man. So I was not surprised to hear that Gordon was sitting on that couch not doing anything. So Mia goes on to say that regardless of all that's happened, it has been a good year for her. And now she says that she's been making some lifestyle changes, like cutting out alcohol. Now we know that Mia has a bit of a hard time telling the truth because Gordon called her out. He was like, we went to the beach the other day and you asked for some wine. So what are you talking about? But Mia says that the last time she had some hard alcohol, she and Karen had gotten into it. Remember the finale episode? Her and Karen went at it. And so Gordon even says that things were rocky between her and Karen and that she should reach out to her. Now, I had low-key forgotten about the beef between Karen and Mia last season. I honestly feel like Mia is just so desperate for the money and to be on this show that she will say and do anything. And then she'll regret it later, but in the moment, she will show out because she knows that she wants to have a moment. Now we jump to a short scene with Candace and Chris. They're having a cute little picnic date, and Candace reveals that last year was a really hard year for them and it took a toll on their marriage. And I'm not surprised to hear that because those types of rumors are very damaging. That affected Chris. He lost a lot of money behind that. And I'm sure he probably had times where he thought that he didn't want to even do this show anymore or even be married. Because to have that being said about you, I'm sure they had many arguments about it. A lot of tears were probably shed. I'm sure it was a hot mess. And if you watched Candace on the Ultimate Girls Trip, she even admitted that her and Chris had gotten into it, that they even thought about divorcing. But we see Candace talking about her tour, how the budget is out of control, how she is already spending so much money on the band. I think she said the band is like 50 grand. She goes on to add that when you tour as the artist, you come out of pocket for like everything. She's like the band, the dancers, the makeup, the glam, the outfits, like everything is on you. And I was like, now Candace, I'm happy that you're thriving. The music career is going well, but don't go broke. Let's make a profit. So now they change gears and Chris starts asking her about her recent dinner with Karen and Wendy. So Candace says it went well. We mostly talked about Robyn, and we're all confused as to how she could talk about you last year when she had a whole scandal with her own husband that she hid. Now, Candace, I don't know why you're acting so confused. We all know that when it comes to Jazelle and Robyn, they're there to do the least amount of work, not show anything of their real lives, and collect a big check. The name of their game is getting in other people's business, putting their stuff on Front Street, but hiding theirs. So Candace goes on to say that she does acknowledge that Robyn was supportive of her and Chris last year, but she feels like in other situations, Robyn isn't as passionate. Now remember, Candace and Robyn had a really bumpy year as well. They got into it multiple times, so things haven't been good with them either. Chris goes on to ask Candace, would she be open to talking to Robyn? And Candace says yes. She says that her and Robyn are homegirls. They've always been really close, so she does want to talk to her. She's open to it. Now, every time Candace says that her and Robyn are like sisters and they've always been so tight, I'm so confused hearing this. I do not remember in earlier seasons Candace and Robyn being that close. If anything, I felt like Candace and Robyn got close in season 6. But I remember clearly when Candace joined this show in season 3, she and Monique became fast friends. I don't remember Candace and Robyn being super tight. So I'm always blown away every time Candace says that they were such good friends. That's like her big sister. I'm like, girl, what? When was this? Did I miss an episode? Did I miss a season? Because I don't remember seeing you and Robyn being best friends. So now we get to the last scene of the episode, and it's the day of Robyn's intervention at Gizelle's house. Now, Jazelle, you have been working on this home for the last 84 years. I don't understand why you don't have a perfectly paved walkway. Why isn't Gizelle's home finished? And Ashley had me screaming. She said every time I see Gizelle's house, it's always under construction, something still being finished, or it's not done yet. And I said, exactly. Gizelle bought this home in season 5. We're in season 8. And the backyard and the walkway still aren't finished. I said, my God. And you know it's a sad day when I'm sitting up there agreeing with Ashley Darby. But I said, Gizelle, you get paid well from Potomac and your podcast. So honey, I don't understand what the holdup is, why this house still isn't done. So Gizelle says that she invited Ashley and Charisse here today because they're the best people to talk about this with, and they've all been through similar situations. So they're talking about the whole nail salon picture that went around the blogs, and Gizelle's like, why is your husband out at the nail salon with another woman? So Charisse and Ashley both want to know, what did Robyn say when Gizelle said this? And Gizelle says, yeah, she told me, I don't care. So Charisse says, what? She doesn't care? Then Charisse goes on to add that maybe Robyn's numb to it. And I said, yeah, I think it's that. I also think that it's a mix of low self-esteem where Robyn thinks that she can't do any better than Juan. I think that's a big reason for why she's so stuck on this man. So as they're talking about Robyn, we see Robyn coming down the walkway, and Robyn had me screaming. She was like, Gizelle, if you don't fix that walkway, I almost broke my neck. I said, again, Gizelle, you have too much mouth for your house to be looking the way it's looking. Season 9, you better have that walkway fixed. And also, Gizelle, for you to have grown up in Jack and Jill, you couldn't have had a bigger spread than that. That had to be the world's smallest charcuterie tray for 4 people. So the gang's all there. Robyn sits down and Gizelle says, hey girl, we invited you here today because we want to give you some tough love. So Robyn's playing dumb. She's like, wait, what? What did I do? So Gizelle says, we're here to give you some encouragement as it pertains to Juan. Now, when I tell you Robyn got so quiet, she didn't say a word. I said, Gizelle, I don't know why you're doing all this when you know that your friend does not like to be told anything. Robyn is not going to receive this. So Ashley interjects and says, Robyn, when the news first broke about Juan in the hotel room, I messaged you to see if you were all right. Then when more news came out, I felt like, did Robyn tell me the truth? Then Ashley goes on to say that she's been in that position before. And I said, girl, you know firsthand, because Michael embarrassed you the entire time you were married and the entire time you've been on this show. So I said, baby, if anybody can give some grade A advice about being embarrassed in a marriage, it's definitely you. So here goes Robyn getting defensive. She's like, let me just break things down for you quickly. The whole laundromat story is BS. It's blatant lies. and Coach Bree has been on Juan's staff for 3 years now. Then she goes on to add that Juan's not dumb enough to be seen in public hugged up with another woman and being affectionate with somebody else in public. I said, but he sure was dumb enough to go to a hotel of a random woman that he didn't even know to pay for her hotel room. So girl, I don't know about he's not dumb enough to do X, Y, and Z, because that whole hotel story was stupidity. So Ashley calls Robyn out on the BS and she says, look, Robyn, you can't compare those two situations. What happened with the Canadian woman is completely different than what happened with Coach Bree. All in all, it should be a sensitivity issue on Juan's part, like, let me not embarrass my wife. It's all about the optics. And I said again, I will never see it for Ashley Darby. I think she's very vile, but when she's right, she's right. Robyn, you're comparing apples to oranges. And like I said earlier, the minute the news came out about the hotel with the Canadian woman, Juan should not have been seen out with another woman in public. Period. End of story. So of course Robyn's getting upset and she says, but Juan called me and told me that he was going to the nail salon and Coach Bree was going to come by and say hi, and that was it. Now, here's my thing. Why does Coach Bree need to come by and say hi to him? That right there is a bit weird. I could see if they both happen to be at the salon together at the same time, they say hi, but if he's at the nail salon and she wasn't, that's not her man. That's not a family member. So why does she need to come by and say hi? Robyn, you don't hear how dumb you sound. You make yourself sound even worse repeating this out loud. You just sound so silly. So Robyn goes on to say that she did tell Juan that the block is hot and maybe that's not the best idea, but ultimately what can she do? So Jazelle says, is he not thinking about the effect that this has on you? So now you have Robyn talk about, what am I gonna do? Like throw a shoe at him? And I just said, one thing I can't stand about Robyn, amongst many things, but the one thing I noticed about Robyn, every time you try to talk to her or offer her some feedback or constructive criticism, she gets so mad. I think that Robyn is so immature. Robyn, nobody's coming at you from a malicious place. Gizelle's actually trying to help you. And you want to sit up here and get mad and mock people and talk about, well, what can I do? Throw a shoe at him? It's like, sis, where's your self-respect? Where's your dignity? Where's your pride? I don't understand why you want to take up for this man. He's out here making you look like a fool and you're getting mad at your friends for trying to help you out? Like, you just sound so crazy. So now Charisse jumps in and she says, look, we're worried about your happiness and your joy. Are you good? So here goes Robyn playing the victim yet again. She's like, well, the world's already stolen my joy. They've already taken it. I said, let me break out the world's tiniest violin because nobody cares. Robyn, I am just so sick and tired of the fact that you want to act like everybody else is the villain here. You need to be mad at Juan. You're mad at the blogs, the public, your friends, but not mad at the man who put you in this boat in the first place. This is misdirected anger. Talking about the world stole your joy and your happiness. No, baby, that was Juan. No, actually, it's you. Because only a dummy with low self-esteem would subject themselves to a man constantly dogging them out all these years. You don't love yourself. That's the real issue. You want to blame the world, blame yourself. And then talking about, oh, the world wants to tear me and Juan apart. It's not about that. It's about people seeing with their two eyes, this man does not love you, value you, respect you, or care about you, and you're holding on to him like a desperate woman. And we all have secondhand embarrassment watching this play out for years on end. The viewers actually care about you a little bit because we're all saying, girl, you deserve better than this. But now you want to talk about, oh, it's the world tearing us apart. No, it's not. You're holding on to a man who's not into you. And honestly, this entire last scene was the epitome of what desperation looks like. When a woman just won't let go and just won't face the music that the man just isn't that into her. When she started talking about, oh, well, it's not his fault, I just said, you really need some help. And again, it's a sad day when you have me siding with Gizelle and Ashley of all people. Gizelle was like, it actually is Juan's fault. And she was like, no, it's not. It's not his fault. And I said, well, girl, if it's not his fault, then whose fault is it? I'll wait. So now Gizelle starts asking Robyn if she thinks that they have her back. So Robyn's like, honestly, it feels like a pile-on. And I said, you know what? I would have ended this conversation because I don't have the patience to try to get through to somebody who does not want to receive help. Robyn is one of those women where you really can't help them. They have to figure it out for themselves, and they usually figure it out when it's too late. If Robyn is content to live like this, to be with a man who does not want her, then who are y'all to try to help her out and get her to see the light? So leave it alone and drop it. I was just too done with Robyn. I said, I'm not going to sit up here and watch this. And I know that Robyn has all these fans now, and that's great, but you have to admit that your girl is out here sounding and looking stupid. So Cherise says, Robyn, let's take the world out of the equation. Juan should not be seen out and about with other women, period, end of story. So here goes Robyn being immature yet again. She's like, well, if Coach Bree were fat and ugly, would you care? So Jazelle says, well, I don't care what she looked like. I would care because he should not be seen out with her. And I just said, Robyn, if a man wants to cheat on you, he will cheat on you. It doesn't matter what size the other woman is. So I said, girl, you just sound so dumb trying to deflect. It doesn't matter about looks. He should not be seen with other women. And Cherise had me screaming. She was like, look, honey, my ex-husband Eddie was out here hitting anybody. He stuck his thing in people I would have never imagined, okay? So it doesn't even matter. Now, I felt bad when Cherise started crying, and she was like, Robyn, I love you. My heart hurts for you because my ex-husband was in various relationships while we were still married. She goes on to say that while their situations are different, they are a bit similar, and she still feels sad when she thinks about it. So she goes on to say how she gave Eddie 1,000 chances, and it just wasn't enough. Now, let me just stop here for a minute, because if you watch Cherise's episode of Iyanla Fix My Life, then you know that she admitted when her and Eddie were in their 8th year of marriage, Eddie walked up to her and told her point blank that he was not attracted to her anymore, he wasn't in love with her anymore, and he had moved out of their bedroom and was sleeping in the guest bedroom. And she said that for the next 12 years, she was still trying to pretend that they were this happy family, they were happily married, and it was a complete lie. And she even said that she was hoping that one day he would fall back in love with her, and it never happened. And like the elders always said, you never let a man tell you more than once that he does not want you. And Cherise, I'm not trying to victim blame, but the minute Eddie walked up to you 8 years into your marriage and told you that he wasn't featuring you, he was not in love with you, he was not attracted to you, that same day, you should have went to that lawyer and gotten those divorce papers and said, shout out to everybody, I had fun.
Oh! Shout out to everybody, I had fun.
I gotta be good.
And it was really sad when Cherise said that after all the allowances that she made with Eddie cheating on her, he still walked out the door. And I just said, again, this is why when you see the signs, if somebody tells you they don't want you anymore, you leave immediately. You don't ask any questions. You don't fight for anybody to see your value or your worth. You're out. So Robyn's like, so you're saying that I'm in denial? And Cherise says, sis, watching you on Watch What Happens Live that night, I got that vibe that you are in heavy denial. So now Ashley cuts in and says that Juan and Robyn's situation reminds her of 3 years ago when she was telling all of them about the arrangement that her and Michael had. Now, mind you, that was the night of the big fight between Candace and Monique. I was like, girl, please don't bring up season 5 again. We are just now in the clear. But Ashley continues on to say that she doesn't think that Robyn is happy, and she feels like Robyn is trying to protect Juan. And I said again, I have to give credit where credit is due, and Ashley told no lies. I feel the same way. I don't think that Robyn is happy, and I also feel like she's in heavy denial. She's delusional, low self-worth, low self-esteem, and she wants to protect this man at all costs. Like I said, you cannot have a real conversation with somebody who's not in the space to receive what you're trying to say. Robyn had more excuses and more stories than a damn comic book with how she kept trying to defend Juan. She was like, the whole thing with the Canadian woman, Juan's not that smart to come up with some big elaborate lie. And I just said, you know what, Robyn? If you like it, then I love it. So now Jazelle says, look, if there was another incident, would you tell Juan to get the F out? Robyn says she would, and the way she said it was so weak. I said, Robyn, who are you fooling? You know good and well that if Juan has another incident, you will take him back and have more excuses for him. So why are you going to lie to yourself and lie to us about, oh, I'd kick him out then? No, you wouldn't. So Jazelle shares her doubts, and she says, honestly, Robyn, I don't know about that. I feel like a lot of women in your situation turn a blind eye because they want it to work out so badly. And you already know my story. So Jazelle shares that one of Jamal's girlfriends called her up and told her on the phone that she was sleeping with him. And she goes on to say it was then that she said, no way, I can't do this. It's time for a divorce. So Jazelle goes on to say that she's a grown-ass woman who loves herself, and at this point in her life, she's going to always put herself first and do what's best for her. Now, I'm happy to hear that. I think that every single woman needs that attitude. You don't ever put anybody else before yourself. It should always be you, especially when dealing with men. But unfortunately, so many women have it reversed. And that's why we're seeing women proposing to men and making the first move and shooting their shots. A hot, raggedy mess.
No.
And Robyn, you need to stop being so hard-headed and get your head out of your ass and just listen. Charisse, Ashley, and Jazelle were actually giving some good advice. So we cut to Jazelle in her confessional. She says that Juan is always making up these elaborate, crazy stories, so that way Robyn will say, oh, the story's so crazy, it has to be true. And I agree with that. I think that Robyn wants to believe that, of course, nobody would tell such a crazy lie like this. It has to be real. Ashley goes on to say, we can all talk till we're blue in the face, but if she likes it, then so be it. And I said, Ashley, I feel the same way. Who are we to try to help somebody who doesn't want to be helped? If Robyn wants to live like this, then let her do it. She's a grown woman. She doesn't want to hear anybody's advice, so it is what it is. Let the chips fall where they may, and when she's ready to get some help and get out of this situation, then she'll ask for it. But until then, whatever you guys say, she's going to be defensive. So now we cut to Charisse in her confessional, and she says, look, I know what denial looks like. I lived the basketball life for 20 years. I know what goes down in these hotel rooms, so I'm not buying it. And I said, I'm glad that somebody's telling the truth today, because I'm not buying it either. And Robyn, again, you look so pathetic to sit up here and repeat the excuse that Juan gave to you for why he was at that hotel paying for that lady's room. And at this point, I probably would have left Gizelle's house because Robyn was determined to be upset. She was like, what do you want me to do about it? You want me to still be mad at Juan? Do you want us to divorce? Like, what do you want me to do? I would have said, girl, bye, do what you want to do, I'm out. But I'm not going to sit up here and deal with you being defensive this entire conversation. So Jazelle says, look, we love you, we're your friends, we're here for you, that's it. So now Robyn says, well, thank you, I appreciate that, but it is what it is. Me and Juan are going to continue to live our lives. Jazelle was like, at this point, Robyn's living her life according to Juan. And I just said, again, Jazelle, leave it alone. Your friend doesn't want to hear anything, so why are you so concerned? You had this little intervention, just drop the subject. Robyn gives me major pick-me vibes where she'd be chasing and cursing out the other woman and would still go back to Juan. That's the impression that I get. But that's where we end the episode. And like I said, I enjoyed this premiere. I thought it was a great episode. Potomac is back. And I'm excited to see what's in store. I already know that it's going to be an explosive season. I have prepared myself. I have told myself that I will not get so emotionally invested. I plan on watching this season in a neutral space, not too invested, just even-keeled, and just remembering that this is just a show, okay? I'm saying that now until we get into episode 5 and I'm screaming. But y'all, that was my recap. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Bye.